Greetings YouTube, Fuzzfinger here, welcome back to Final Fantasy IX and our perfect Excalibur II playthrough series. If you're following along with the GameFaqs guide, this video will cover the section D1/11 and we're going to be doing a fair bit of stuff today, some of it a little bit frustrating, but hey, I'm sure we'll get through it together, so please do stay tuned for today's show. Okay then folks, so what I've actually ended up doing is splitting this episode into two, and the reason for that is this first part, which you're watching now, might only be about 12 minutes in length in total, but it took me about 3.5 hours to record. I kid you not. When I say this series is a real heartache to make, then I really do mean it, so please do support me if you're enjoying watching these episodes guys by hitting that like button and being subscribed to my gaming channel. That said, we're going to start off quite simply by coming out of the gate there and making our way on the world map to the Coos Marsh, and we're just going to go straight ahead north and catch this large frog here. I do recommend this large frog because it's the easiest one to catch, and once you've got it we'll go and give that to Quina and that will advance the story for us, so we do need to do this particular frog catch here. Just as a reminder, since we're going for a perfect gameplay series, we are actually only going to be doing the missable stuff before Excalibur II to save time, then everything else we'll do after that. So for now we're just getting the one frog to proceed with the story. I am just speeding up the dialogue here so that we can try and catch up on some time. And just select the first option once you get that option to do so. And then just keep that speed button active, or the speed option active, while you just spam through all these cutscenes here. And eventually we're going to go ahead and leave this place, but as we do so here, it's important we actually do so from the right hand side, otherwise we're going to waste time if we head south, kicking off the mini game and whatnot for catching frogs. So just continue to make your way around. It's a little bit longer, but as I say, going this way does avoid the mini game. And what I'm going to do is just re-equip our characters at this point before we actually proceed any further from here. So I'm just going to, before I equip actually, make sure that Zidane and Freya are the two that are on the front row. Although it's not going to matter too much, and you'll see why, but for the sake of perfectionism, you'll probably want to do this. And then you want to give Zidane the mithril dagger, and give him the glass armlet as well, and change his bronze vest to the leather plate. And then we're just going to do the same with the others, make sure they're nicely equipped. So Freya's going to have the iron helm, she's going to keep the bronze gloves and the chorus equipped, and then have the yellow scarf. Quina, very important you give Quina the needle fork, because without that he won't be able to petrify the upcoming encounter enemies, which we do need to be able to do to avoid the experience. And then Vivi, we're going to give him the steepled hat, the leather wrist, this is the only thing he can have, the cotton robe, and finally the yellow scarf. So there we have our characters nicely equipped. And finally, we're just going to make sure the add status and millionaire abilities are equipped on Quina here. And what you might want to do at this point is go ahead and save your game, creating a new save file as you do so. And I'm just going to reload that now. Just had to rest my fingers for a bit in between that, but that's a good thing about saving, you do get to have those breaks. Right, we're going to Gizmaluke's grotto next. And all we have to do is turn around and we'll find it on the northern border here. So again, just have the high speed option enabled so that you can spam through this dialogue, which we are greeted to. And once we get the opportunity, we're going to go inside here and then speak to the NPC, and he'll give us a bell which we're going to need to proceed. But once we've got the bell, I recommend going out just to create an extra save file, or just resave over the one you just created, that's absolutely fine. The reason for that is if this battle we're about to do goes wrong, then you can just reload. You can use your autosave as well, but it doesn't hurt to have that hard save file should you mess up with the autosave. Right then, so this battle's interesting. It's an easy battle. The problem is that we can't get any experience from it, or it's going to screw our perfect game because we won't be able to max our stats out later. So the way we avoid getting experience is by petrifying both of them using the needle fork. There's two enemies, and to petrify them all you have to do is attack with Quina, but there's only a small % chance of petrifying them. So if you don't petrify them in time, or if it's taking too long, or if your characters start dying, or whatever the case may be, then it is just going to have to be, I'm afraid, a situation of reloading. What you might want to do is choose the auto, so not auto battle, the battle helper toggle, which I wouldn't normally do, but it's solely to save time, because otherwise you're going to be having to spam potions like there's no tomorrow in order to keep your team alive. And what you're going to want to do is attack with Quina, and only with Quina, and if you don't petrify them after 1 or 2 turns, chuck a potion on them so they don't die. And if you don't petrify them within about 3 turns each, then you've probably taken up too much time and are going to want to reload. So there we have the second hit petrified this first one, which means at this point I won't be attacking that again. Instead we're going to start attacking the second, and hopefully we'll get it petrified without too much trouble here. 300 damage is a lot. I think one more hit would actually kill this guy, so we do need a couple of potions on it if possible. And then we'll go at hitting it again with Quina. See what we get this time. These kind of forced battle encounters are really super rare, so don't worry about having to avoid experience like this a lot of the time. You won't need to. But there we go, because we petrified them we get 0 XP, which is what we wanted to see. And then you can just speed through the dialogue again. And at this point we are just going to quit back out of the Gizmaluke's grotto. That's all we're going to be doing here for the time being. But hey, we were close by, so it made sense to do that bit since it had to be done eventually. So, yeah, may as well save here. And what we're going to do then is make our way over to the Chocobo Forest. And this is where things get interesting. Not particularly fun, but interesting. We're going to have to start playing hot or cold. So just make sure you disable random enemy encounters. If you can't, then don't worry if you encounter, say, 1 enemy. That shouldn't be too bad. But reload if you get more than that, if you're playing on a system where you can't disable enemies. So when we first enter the Chocobo Forest, we'll have to get through some one-time dialogue. And then we'll get some Geishor Greens, at which point we'll pop out back outside the forest, use those new Geishor Greens on the Chocobo tracks to call Choco, and then take him back into the forest in order to be able to start the hot and cold Choco minigame. You'll have to choose the option to spend 60 gil. Again, a lot of this dialogue's one time only, you won't have to go through it as we repeat this minigame. And hopefully you know how to play Choco hot or cold. If not, go and check my video walkthrough in the original Final Fantasy IX walkthrough I made, teaching you how. But basically what we're trying to do on this first game is collect the stone with patterns, which is basically a chocograph, and it's our first chocograph that we're going to get. It introduces you to chocographs, but you're not guaranteed to get it. So it will always be the first chocograph you get, but you're not guaranteed to get it in your first game. So if you don't get it, you'll have to reload, because you do need to get it. So hopefully this will be it. It's unfortunate if you have to extend your time, because obviously that goes onto your game clock. So with a low depth like that, that was the one we wanted. So you do need that stone with patterns. If you skip over what the items are, then don't worry, you get told again at the end if you missed it. There it is, stone with patterns. So that's going to be our first chocograph, which is always going to be the stream side chocograph. So we just have to go through the, again, one-time dialogue. Once we've done this, you're going to want to pop outside in order to save your game, because you don't want to have to repeat having to find this thing again. Trust me, the fun's only just beginning with this. And And now once we've gone outside and saved our game, we're now going to be looking for 3 items from the hot and cold minigame. We're looking either for a Chocobo piece, or we're looking for a Chocograph that is either Healing Shore or Small Beach. They're the only 3 things we need. We do need all 3 of them, but make sure if you get one of those Chocographs that you watch the end of this video first, because we are going to just pop over to the south gate before getting the second one. Doesn't matter which one you get first, but just make sure you get one of them. If you don't get one of them, if you get another Chocograph other than those 2, so just to confirm that's Healing Shore or Small Beach, you can get others here. If you get anything other than those, then reload that save game you've just made, because they're the only 2 you want to get at the moment, otherwise you're going to waste too much time. Alright, so this is literally about 2.5 hours later now, and I've collected the Chocograph piece, and I collected multiple Chocographs, but none of them were the 2 that we needed, Healing Shore and Small Beach, so I was just about to give up, but then finally I managed to get the Small Beach Chocograph, so that's pretty much where I decided to take a break at the end of this episode. So once you've managed to get that, I don't even know why I was wasting time here just standing around doing nothing. That's how literally monged my head was. But once you've got that, you want to pop outside and get your game saved. Doesn't matter if you get the Healing Shore one, but instead of the Small Beach. But actually, before you save your game, you want to head over here, because there's one more thing we can do on this episode, which we do need to do to split up the Chocographs, and that's enter the south gate and grab the 2 items. So there's one at the end here. Forget the treasure chest, nothing in that, it's already open as you can see. And then cross over the whatever this thing is here. You don't want that, but you do want this, the mocha coffee, and that's it. And now you just want to head back to the Chocobo Forest. Just be careful looting your, boarding your Chocobo, mounting your Chocobo, that you don't accidentally go back into the south gate. And then when you're back at the Chocobo Forest, it's just a case of saving your game and continuing to farm for that other Chocograph. So guys, I'm going to finish off here today. I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you have, don't forget to leave a like, and come back soon for more Final Fantasy IX. Cheers all, goodbye.